Make a Path presents Let's Talk.
Alright, Deadheads, we're back for another Q&A. I do want to remind you guys, I get a lot of questions on why I'm not doing Q&As every single day and things like that. And I'm running the Walking Dead cover series right now. Absolutely fun series. I completely love doing it, and I think that it is something I want to do before the Q&As. Now, I will still do my weekly Q&As. And I want to remind you guys that I will hit downtime where I'll pump out a Q&A every other day. That time will come. If you do remember over the break, the mid-season break for The Walking Dead Season 5, I was pounding out Q&As like every other day. The problem when you do something like that is people get conditioned and they think that that's when Q&As happen, like every day, every other day. So I do want to constantly try to remind you guys that Q&As are once a week. I'm trying for every Friday. If I have other videos going on, then that might push it back. I might even skip a week. We've been through this, but I just want to remind you guys, Q&As are not going away. I get questions all week about if I'm done doing Q&As and everything like that. They're never going away. It's just when I got more projects, the Q&As got pushed on the back burner at times. But if you're a huge fan of the Q&As, I know a lot of you are, don't worry, when the time comes, you're going to be flooded with Walking Dead Q&As. I am doing Q&As for Fear the Walking Dead and everything like that. I'm not going to make a whole new Q&A series. What I'm going to do is simply tell you guys, like right now, I'll be like, yo, leave Walking Dead, the companion series questions, and the next Q&A, I will mainly answer those. So don't worry, I will be doing comic ones and show ones and everything like that. And I will let you guys know when we get there what's going on with that. Now, I don't want to ramble anymore because I got a lot on my plate as far as videos right now, and I want to get right into this. So, let's talk The Walking Dead Q&A 47. Alright guys, let's do this now. If you want to participate in the Q&As, leave your question in the most recent Q&A video. And do not forget to put Q&A before your question. This actually helps me find it when we're doing the videos. Let's go. First question, A-Jumps 1992. Do you think they should do a blood test for Judith to find out if Rick is the father? I would say that that might be a realistic thing. I think that fans would find that interesting. However, as far as the characters, I don't think Rick Grimes would ever push for that. Judith is his. At this point, what good would it do him? This is not the world we're living in today where, you know, there's other options for the child. If Rick isn't the father, what future does that child have? I don't think Rick cares. Like he established before, Judith is his no matter what. So I do not think Rick even cares, and I don't think personally Rick would even try to find out, to be honest. But I do think they can do it if they wanted to. Although, I don't know how you make those tests work. You know, so, you know, there it is. TCCT asks, do you think they could give Abraham's comic book death to Daryl? Listen, I'm going to throw this in here real quick. I think that death is pretty much off the table, unless they're going to give it to a minor character. The biggest reason that that death was shitty for Abraham is because it's just a shitty death, you know? I mean, at the moment, for shock value, it's like, holy shit, that just happened. But then it's really underwhelming. It's like, oh, wow, that's how he goes out? So I don't think they're going to do that, especially not with Daryl. I think it's the biggest, most regretted death for Robert Kirkman in the comic because it's just an underwhelming way to die. So I do not think they'll do that with a fan favorite at all. So no, Daryl's off the table. It will probably be somebody who's a red shirt, they call it. Gianna Rivera wants to know if I think that Jesse will take Andria's role. She's talking about the romantic interest, and then Sasha will take the sniper interest. I think it's possible. It's absolutely possible. They have an actress that already has a fan base. They have an actress, from what I hear on her other projects, she can handle her own as far as acting. Me personally, I'm just saying no. I am rarely ever wanting to stick strictly with the source material. For characters like Jesse, I just want to stick with the source material. The simple fact is, it would be the same with Reggie. He got Regina's death in the comic. It's the same with doing that. Pete got Pete's comic death. It would be the same thing with Jesse in my eyes. Just because it's on, I don't know why, but people look at Jesse as a character that needs to be around longer. You know what I'm saying? But it was okay for Pete, it was okay for Reggie to take those quick comic book deaths. I'm fine if Jesse goes out just like Jesse went out in the comic book. If they make it work on the show, then fine, I'll accept that when it comes. It's one of those things where obviously they could do it, yeah. You know, do I want them to do it? No, at this point I want the comic book translation, you know? Jeff Brandt, do you think we will ever see an Alexandria Safe Zone flashback pre-Survivors? No, I don't think that serves any purpose at all to the story. Nacho Beast 79, what season can we see the Hilltop at? I'm perfectly fine with seeing the Hilltop at season 7, you know? I don't want to get into specifics, but if you do a timeline that could work with No Way Out, New Material / Small Uprising. I know when I say Uprising, people get the wrong idea, but what I'm thinking of is conflict with the Alexandrian residents, with the new leadership being Rick Grimes and everyone else. I'm not talking like a total uprising, how it sounds, but so let's just say, to keep this short and sweet, No Way Out with the Wolves, with the New Material, whatever that's going to be, especially spotlighting Morgan now in season 6. Maybe some Morgan flashbacks, maybe get into the uprising, and then at the end of season 6 we see Jesus spying on the Safe Zone. Season 7 will open up with finding out who Jesus is, making the trek to the Hilltop, and let's say that ends around the mid-season finale. Then Season 7 Part B, when we come back for episodes 9 to 16, will go from the Hilltop to fighting the Saviors on the street on the way back to Alexandria. And again, there's other things going on. It's hard to explain this because people, when I say from the Hilltop back to Alexandria, people think that that's half an episode. There's other things going on. Now we get to Alexandria and we have another skirmish with the Saviors. Now this would be the season finale as far as prediction-wise goes. And this is a loose prediction because we have no idea what's coming for season 6. And then let's say, and I do believe, I'm going to put this out, I get a lot of shit for saying this, but I do believe that this is even rushed. You know, let's just say the last thing we see, and I think this would be an awesome cliffhanger, the last thing we see for season 7 is Rick on the fence after just fighting the Saviors, realizing the Saviors are a whole hell of a lot bigger than what he initially thought, and he realizes that he might be in a lot of trouble. And Michonne or Andria, I think it's Andria, asks him, what do we do now? And Rick is at the fence, and he simply says, I don't know. I think that is such a gripping way, and it's simple too. I know it doesn't end with a big death, it doesn't end with a big bang, but it ends with this looming question, what do you do now? Rick, our almighty leader, he doesn't know. Like, shit just got real, you know? So I think that's such an awesome way to end it. And then, obviously, Season 8, Episode 1 is also Episode 100. So we start the premiere with Rick and group going back to the Hilltop to talk with them to make another strategy of how to deal with the Saviors. And that's also the fateful premiere where we see Negan, Issue 100, Episode 100. Negan appears, Season 8, Episode 1, it just fits. So something along the lines of that would be a nice mix. I know you only asked for the Hilltop, but I just gave it all because there's a couple people asking for Negan, the Hilltop, the Saviors, timeline-wise, so that knocks all those questions out. Moving on. Zerochi Batsui, I don't know how to say your name. Do I think the Wolves will be the whole first half of Season 6, similar to Terminus in Season 5? Terminus was only 3 episodes, pretty much, with Terminus and the Hunters. So, I don't know what you mean there, but yeah, I will say it's like Terminus, but not the whole first half at all. I do not believe the Wolves will be... And here's the tricky part, because I don't believe they're going to have Wolves Episode 1, wham bam, done. But I do believe the Wolves battle will be done and over with in 1 episode. So, depending on where that episode's placement is in the season, I do believe the Wolves will be dead, though, in the first half of Season 6. Absolutely. Danny Milhouse. If you could create a character to play in the TV show, would they be good or bad? I'm not creating a character, man. Dwight. Hashtag Ronnie Hayes for Dwight. Brett Reed, do you think Nicholas' death deserves to be brutal? Sure. I think all the deaths deserve to be brutal. Jeff Bryant, do you think they will show Eugene coming up with ideas to reinforce the walls like in the comic books after No Way Out? Yeah, I think that's absolutely a possibility. Zach Treadway, first off, I want to tell you how much I appreciate your work. Thank you, buddy. Do you think the Wolves attacking the Alexandria safe zone will be the start of No Way Out? You know what? Everyone seems to think that, and I heard Greg Nicotero. I am staying away from pretty much everything, even interviews, leaks, spoilers. I don't want to know anything about Season 6. I want to go into that and make my predictions as genuine as possible. So no offense, but I don't want to discuss anything about what's coming up. And that might seem odd since I'm going to be making since I'm going to be making videos about it. But trust me, I got this, so don't worry. I have a vision for the videos we're going to be doing in the future. Alright, listen, I do think the Wolves will play some sort of part in No Way Out. Damaging the wall, definitely. Bringing some walkers, definitely. But I do think we need to show, in the premiere, let's say a huge herd of walkers. This is what we start with before the credits. We see a huge, massive herd of walkers. And then the camera pans out, the walkers are moving, and it's huge. The camera slowly pans out through the woods a little bit, winding down a ways. We're wondering where it's going. And then we come across Carl and Lydia talking outside, and immediately we know, damn, they're just like some woods and a field away. Those walkers are close, And that way, when the wolves come, an episode later, or 2 episodes later, and we have that battle, we're worried already as fans. We know those gunshots are going to get the attention of those walkers, and shit's going to be bad. I see something like that happening. Because in a comic book it works. You see a bunch of gunshots, then you see another image of walkers hearing those gunshots. But when you're looking at it in a TV show, and the sound of those gunshots is not traveling, 3 towns over, that's unrealistic. A gunshot does not travel as far as you think. You know what I mean? So I think we need to see some sort of herd and know that it's close. And then that way, when we see and that's the setup. And then when we hear the gunshots, then the whole herd, let's say it's going this way, we'll hear the gunshots, and then the herd starts to shift and then go, and we know there's no way out of this. Ha! Jolly Good Show. Have you watched The Walking Dead Deceased? That so-called awful movie that made fun of the Walking Dead, Greg Romero movies. I'll be honest, I want to see you rant about it before I watch it myself. I hate spoof movies only because it's like dumb comedy, It's they're just so bad. But here's a fun fact. The star of Walking Dead Deceased just followed me on Twitter, so maybe we'll do a Q&A with him, and we'll do a Q&A rant with the star, just for some fun. Let's have fun with it. Plus, I want to play Dwight on the next The Walking Dead Deceased. But yeah, I personally, for my own humor, I know there's fans of that kind of humor. Me personally, I hate dumb humor. I will keep a rant video on the back burner. Let's have a little conversation with this Sheridan guy, I think his name is. We'll see if we can do a Q&A with him. Terry Chapman, in the comics, with Rick's wounded leg, do you think he'll be much of a threat to any enemies? I think it's Carl's time to take over soon? Listen, Terry, to be honest with you, I don't think that Rick's handicap right now is going to interfere with the story and interfere with him being a badass, because it's different now. It's really different. It's not like it was in the beginning, where they are just on foot running around. These communities are established now. He has soldiers he can command. He has workers and runners and everything like this. Now it's time to see a new Rick Grimes in the story, and this is why I feel it would be such a shame for Robert Kirkman to kill off Rick Grimes, because now we can see the king version of Rick Grimes, who has power and authority, and he can delegate that to other people that we can follow. See what I'm saying? It'd be such an awesome... It's such a cool new way to look at the story. Now we have a Rick Grimes who's not running out handling all the problems, but now he's giving those responsibilities onto his worker ants, I just think it's too soon. I think you could do it, yeah. I think it would hurt the series. I really think it would. Now, obviously, the issue that Rick dies in is going to go through the roof. I'm going to buy 20 copies myself. They're going to have different variants. This is going to be something I don't think, or I wouldn't think, they're just going to surprise us with. I think the next big issue with a lot of variants, you should be worried about it, because they're going to make a big death out of Rick Grimes. And I don't think it's going to be in any random issue like 144. I just don't feel that way. I think it would be in like The Walking Dead issue 200, issue 250, something like that. M. Foster, 221. Hey Ronnie, in the comics when Rick defeats Negan, that final scene between them is extremely similar to the scene in the TV show where Rick kills Shane. What are your thoughts on that? Thank you for the compliment after that question. However, I'm not seeing how it's similar. I get it, they were talking, and then I get there was the confrontation. I see the similarities there. But one got a, slice on the neck and a broken leg, and the other one was, what are you doing?
Massaging you.
Thank you, buddy. This is hard work. On the show, one got stabbed and then yada yada yada. And in the comic book, one got cut and then broken leg in a tussle. I don't know. I don't see the similarities other than having a conversation face to face and then confrontation. You know what I'm saying? Conversation to confrontation. Other than that, I really don't see much similarities there. I do not think that's going to be anything like the Morgan and Tyrese. It was just way too similar. A lot of it was. Brett Reed, if you had a choice, who would you bring back in the TV series? I would bring back Andria, but look at you. You didn't even give me the option of Andria. You said Beth? No. Herschel? No. You got an awesome death. Noah? Nah. Tyrese? Nah. Bob? Andria. I want Gimple to work his magic with Andria, but moving on. Adam Ewens. Don't you think it would be cool if Tara and Rosita hit it off and the two of them had a thing behind Abraham's back? No, because that seems out of character for Rosita.
Subscribe now.